What's going on, guys? It's Mighty Manotaur. We're back with another Sunday vlog. Today's topic is something I am very excited to talk about. I always like making lists of things. It feeds my obsessive-compulsive nature. So today we're talking about the games I'm most anticipating coming the rest of this year. Now, it's been a bit of a bummer because a lot of high-profile titles have been pushed back to 2015, and a lot of the stuff that was revealed at E3 and Gamescom were slated for 2015 or even 2016. But with that being said, there's still a lot of great-looking games coming out the rest of this year, so we're going to be celebrating that today. Before we get to my top 5, I wanted to mention a few other games and stuff that I'm looking forward to coming out this year, but that don't crack that top 5, more like honorable mentions or kind of side things. So the first one being the DLC for Infamous Second Son, Infamous First Light, they're calling it. It's focusing on the character Fetch, which was a secondary character from the actual game. Comes out on Tuesday, April 26th, I guess it is, this Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know how much it is, maybe $20, but it's supposed to be a pretty good-sized area of the game. And I talked about this in my best games so far video, which I'll go ahead and put right there. Nope, other side, right there. You can click on that and check that video out. I platinumed that game. I played it through twice, got everything. I had my problems with it, primarily the story wasn't amazing, and kind of the variety of the side missions left a little bit to be desired, but I had a total blast playing it the entire way through, both times. So this is, it's more of that, focusing on the coolest powers, which are the neon powers, with a really interesting character. So that's going to be a good thing to kind of tide me over until more bigger games come out. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Also, The Legend of Korra. This is slated for fall 2014. I'm putting it in the video just because it's supposed to come out this year. Who knows? That's something that might get pushed back. Platinum Games is making it. They're known for hardcore action-y, combo-based action fighting games. And Legend of Korra, the Avatar series, is really cool. I really like it. So that looks really fun. It's got kind of a cel-shaded feel to it. You use, the earth, fire, water, and air bending all at once. You can switch between them. It just looks like a really over-the-top, fun, action-y game. That's not cracking the top 5. It's a downloadable title, for one. It's not like a full, huge retail experience, and that's something that might end up getting pushed into 2015 because there's no definitive release date yet, and we're 3/4 of the way through the year already, just about. And I don't know, not having a release date when the game is supposed to be coming out in 2 months seems a little weird. From there, Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Remix HD Mega Edition Super Awesome Japanese Fun Time, whatever the real title is, but the Kingdom Hearts 2 HD Remake. I loved the first Kingdom Hearts game, one of my favorite games of all time. That made my list of top 10 games of 2013, which you can check out in the blog post that I'll put right here. I loved that game. I loved the HD remake. It filled that nostalgia in me. Kingdom Hearts 2, I really enjoyed. I'm not as big on that game from the PS2 original as I was in the first, but let me get trophies, play through with some up-res graphics. Let me relive that, much better combat system in the second one than in the first one, and the really overcomplicated story. So I'm really looking forward to that. That comes out in December, I think. Hopefully that doesn't get pushed into 2015 too. The final game that I wanted to mention really quickly, now that we're already 4 minutes into the video, is Minecraft on PS4. That is a weird one. That game's been pushed back so many times. It was supposed to come out this month, as it has supposed to come out every month, but it failed certification from Sony, meaning there were some bugs or something in the game that Sony wasn't happy with putting out. So that's not going to come out this month. They haven't put a definitive release date on it yet. I would anticipate, because them giving it to Sony for certification means that they're done. They're feature complete. All of the stuff in the game is done. So really it's just Sony coming in and saying, okay, there's no game-breaking bugs. You're fine to put this out. So I think it's going to come out next month. It's been so long in the waiting, man. It's on Xbox 360. It's on PS3. I think the Vita version is coming soon. It's on Xbox One, I think. And it's like, come on, man. Just give it to me on PS4. Give me an excuse. I want to play it with my wife. She loves playing Minecraft with me on there. We played through it on Xbox 360 and had a lot of fun. So I want to do that. Just let me play the game. So really looking forward to that. But I have worries because it's been pushed back so many times about how up-to-date it will be versus the PC version. So I guess without further ado, let's crack the top 5. Keep in mind, I own I'm like off-centered, so it's hard for me to judge where I am on camera. I own a PC, a PS3, and a PS4. So if there are games that are coming out that are on Vita or 3DS or Xbox One or whatever that aren't on this list, that's why. I can't be anticipating games that I'm not going to play. If I had an Xbox, Sunset Overdrive would be my number 1 most anticipated game. I'll say that much. But I don't have an Xbox. I can't play that until I eventually get an Xbox, maybe. But let's look at my top 5 games of 2014.
Number 5.
Alright, so my number 5 game that I'm looking forward to, Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor. This is a weird one. I'm a giant Lord of the Rings nerd. This should be one of my most anticipated games. I mean, I guess at number 5 it is one of my most anticipated games. I don't know, I just have a weird feeling about it. By all accounts, it's one of those games that you have to play to fully understand the scope of it and what the new kinds of things that they're having in this game. And I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. As it stands, it's just, I don't know, it takes a lot of the Assassin's Creed aspects in terms of like the climbing and parkour and combat. And that it just is starting to feel stale. It has a little bit of the Batman Arkham Asylum combat, but it seems a little bit dumbed down. It's not as like dramatic looking to me. I don't know. I want to get my hands on it. I'm excited to play it. I'm definitely going to be buying it. I just don't want to get my hopes too high because as far as Lord of the Rings games go, I've been let down so many times by pretty much every other Lord of the Rings game to come out has been a disappointment. So this is one of those where I don't want to expect too much of it. What they're doing with the Nemesis system, where you can like hack an orc's mind and get him to go kill his boss, and then he ascends, and so you're controlling this guy, and that gives you one step closer to killing Sauron and all that stuff. Like, that's really cool, but it's one of those things I feel like where I'm going to need to play it and need to try it out for myself to really know if it's good or if I'm going to enjoy it. I don't know, I'm a little afraid it's one of those games that I'm going to play and just struggle to kind of get into it. But with that being said, I'm still really pumped for it. I'm absolutely giving it a shot, and I want to be proven wrong. I want to be blown away. The lower my expectations are, the better chance that I'm going to be impressed. So that's my number 5 game.
Number 4.
Number 4 on the list is Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Now, this one, when they announced it, was a bit of a bummer because it's on PS3. It's on old consoles, not the new ones, which sucks a little bit. But now we know Gearbox is working on a new game, Battleborn, which I'm pretty lukewarm on. But you have to anticipate that after that, eventually we're going to be getting Borderlands 3 on the new console. So this is kind of something to tide us over. It's a different studio leading it. Gearbox is helping out, obviously, but 2K Australia is primarily making the game and writing it. So it's going to have a really weird kind of quirky Australian sense of humor. And I'm sure a lot of colloquial jokes that I'm not going to understand, but I imagine that'll make it even more endearing. The biggest reason I'm looking forward to it is I love Borderlands. This looks like more Borderlands for people that love Borderlands, and I love Borderlands, so give me more Borderlands. Is kind of what it breaks down to. It's not doing a ton new. It's on the moon, and it has low gravity, and kind of have to manage an air thing that you have, and it's got 4 new characters. But the gameplay is the same. A lot of the enemy types are pretty similar. I know it's going to be a hilarious game, and I'm really pumped for it. A little bit of a bummer, in the second game I played a lot of it with friends, but I'm not sure how many friends I have that are going to be getting the new one. I know my brother, he was planning on getting it, but he's on kind of a budget, so he has to pick and choose what games he's getting, so I think he's leaning towards not picking up Borderlands, which sucks because looking forward to playing through that with him and maybe doing a Let's Play on the channel of it, but I don't know. We'll see. I already know if I do a co-op playthrough, I'm going to be playing Wilhelm because he's like a cool support character. Maybe Claptrap, depending on who I'm playing with. And then Athena will be my solo character because she's got like the Captain America shield and can absorb damage and then throw it out, bounces off guys, and does all that damage. So I don't know. I'm really pumped for it. I'm sure it's going to be hilarious. And the gameplay is so great in Borderlands 2 that I'm fine with them not switching it up a ton. Just as a kind of a game to tide us over until Borderlands 3 hopefully redoes a lot of stuff, a lot of the mechanics.
Number 3.
Destiny. This one, I feel like I don't know, I don't want to be like negative about these games because they're obviously all games that I'm really pumped to play, but it's like, this one especially, I'm really afraid is going to be a letdown, if I'm being fully honest. I'm excited for it. It comes out in like a couple of weeks. I think it's like the beginning of September. So we're gonna know pretty soon whether or not this is a good game or if it is a letdown. I think it's fair to say that it's gonna be a good game. From what I played in the alpha and the beta and the stuff that we've seen since then, it looks really fun. The gameplay is really tight. The multiplayer is a lot of fun. The shooting mechanics feel really good. The story is a huge question mark. We have no idea really what's going on. The little bit of it that you see in the beta was like super generic. And in terms of the scope of the game, where originally how they promised how huge the game was going to be, it's seeming like it's going to be that less and less the more that we see of it. Because in the alpha and the beta, you play on Old Russia, which is apparently the only area that you play on Earth. So these big sandboxes that were given, there's only one per planet. So if there are only like 10 planets in the game, that's not that much, especially to what they were promising originally. We saw a little bit of the moon. If you were in the beta, you got a little bit of a taste of that at the end. They've shown a little bit of gameplay from Mars and some trailers and stuff. So I don't know. I want to be really, really excited for this game, and I am excited for it. I'm just a little... it's another case where I don't want to get my hopes too high and then be disappointed with the end product. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to play great. That's already been proven from the beta, and I know I'm going to really like the multiplayer for at least, a couple of months. But it's that MMO feel that I'm looking for. As a non-MMO player, I want a taste of that. I want a taste of that open world, getting together for emergent co-op stuff, these big missions, and the strikes look really cool. All the end game stuff too looks awesome. All the raids and the really like legendary gear and grinding out for that stuff, like that looks really, really awesome. But if all the story stuff you're doing for 20 levels to get to that end game stuff is boring and feels the same, like it's the same thing over and over like the beta stuff did on Old Russia, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to have the patience to make it to the end with all these other games coming out. So we'll see. I want to be blown away. I think it's going to be a solid game, but I'm afraid that people are going to be disappointed because it's not going to live up to the expectations that Bungie set for themselves. So that's number 3. That's a little bit of a negative on it, I guess, but I am still really looking forward to playing it. And before I forget, with Destiny, if you want to see some more of that, I did a vlog post talking about the beta. You can check that out. Damn, I keep doing that. Check that out on the top, and then I did a gameplay video of the beta, which you can check out on the bottom. So check that stuff out if you want to hear more of my thoughts, positives and negatives, about what I played of Destiny.
Number 2.
Number 2. Okay, so these last 2 games, the first 3 that I talked about, I have some worries, some concerns about them, but these last 2, it's full on like freaking out, overboard fanboy hype for these 2 games. So number 2, Far Cry 4. I don't know, man. It just looks amazing. All the stuff that they've shown from E3 and Gamescom and all the trailers and stuff like it, just everything about it is blowing me away. I haven't played Far Cry 3. It's on my list. I need to play it before Far Cry 4 just so I kind of get that gameplay feel going into that game. But it's, I don't know, like the setting with the verticality and, the wingsuit that you have just looks really, really awesome. And if the world's as big as they're making it seem, which I guess it's pretty similar to Far Cry 3, it's not that big in terms of square footage per se, or square mileage, I guess, but they're going for density, which is really the key. A game like Skyrim is gigantic, and there are tons of places to do, but in between those places, there's a lot of open area that you're just running between, or fast traveling, really, between, with a little bit of emergent, battles and stuff like that. I love Skyrim, one of my favorite games ever, but that's one of the flaws of that game. Far Cry 4 seems like it's taking that open world Skyrim feel and maybe condensing it down by like 20%, making it a little bit smaller, but it makes all that stuff, that cool stuff you do, closer together. More stuff to do and less time traveling in between those things. So I'm really pumped about it. Troy Baker's doing the voice and the motion capture for the villain. He's in every video game ever nowadays, but he is for a reason. He's fantastically talented. The reveal trailer they did of Pig and Min, I think is his name, the villain trailer that they showed of him looks really good. He seems off the wall and crazy in a way that Voss wasn't. Voss was straight up like kind of cool and like dark. Pig and Min just seems like the Joker. You have no idea when he's going to snap and do something weird. And that's a really fun villain to play around with. So the story looks interesting, the world looks amazing, and you get to ride on the back of an elephant. I mean, come on, what more is there to want?
Number 1.
Alright, and here it is, my number 1 most anticipated game of 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, if you're surprised that this is my number 1 most anticipated game, so am I. I don't know what it is about this game. I liked Dragon Age Origins. The combat was a little slow for my tastes, because it is more that strategy RPG feel. The story was really cool, and I liked the characters, but the combat, it just didn't really click with me. The second one was the opposite, where I really enjoyed the combat for the most part, in terms of like the powers and how fast-paced it was. I liked that more action RPG style, but the story was boring, the world was so generic, and like you just went to the same maps over and over again. Now, with Inquisition, it looks like they're taking the best parts of both of those games and mashing them together and sprinkling in even more awesome stuff. So, I don't know, man. It's a biggest part, I think, that leads to me being really excited about this game is I've been hankering for RPGs. I'm playing through Final Fantasy X HD right now, and then I'm going to move on to Final Fantasy X-2 HD. But I've played both those games before, multiple times. So it's the nostalgia that I'm getting out of it, not the RPG that I'm getting out of it. And especially like a fantasy RPG that I really love, like Kingdoms of Amalur and Skyrim and games like that. Those games always really click with me that I can just fully dive into and just play for hundreds of hours over several months. And this game looks like it's going to scratch that itch, man. It's gorgeous. The graphics are amazing, especially for how huge the world is. It's not a total open world. They're doing it more MMO style, where you have these big open areas that you travel between, which I'm fine with if that makes the graphical fidelity a little bit higher and gives you more stuff to do in those areas. I'm totally fine with not being able to just run from one end of the world to the other with no loading. I'm fine with that. The characters look really great and in depth, and the relationships, and BioWare is great at telling a story and giving the player agency in conversations and making choices. They've proven that with the other Dragon Age games, Mass Effect, even to a lesser extent a game like the Old Republic, their MMO. So that side of it, I'm sure, is going to be really solid. And just the gameplay looks so great because it has that mix-up where you can play it action RPG style, or you can slow everything down, tell all your players what you want, or all your NPCs what you want them to do, and then speed it up slowly so you can time out attacks, and you fight dragons. It's just, oh man, just the scope of it and the fantasy feel. It's just, man, like, I'm so excited for that game, and it bums me out even a little bit that it's coming out middle of November, because how big that game is, there's no way I'm going to finish it before the end of the year. And, I want to do my top 10 games of 2014, and I don't want to include a game on that list that I haven't had a large chunk of experience with. I don't have to necessarily have beaten the game in order to put it on the list or not put it on the list, but I want to feel like I've experienced most of what that game has to offer so that I can speak to that. Because a game like, on my 2013 list, a game like Assassin's Creed Black Flag was on that list. I had only just scratched a little bit of the surface of that game. I had played it for probably 8 hours, maybe 10 hours. Did a bunch of the ship combat and stuff, and I was really liking that. The farther I got into the game, The ship combat eventually got stale. It was doing the same thing over and over again. The story was stupid. Like, I could have cared less about any of those characters. The actual assassinating part played a very minor role. Like, the actual assassinating, you hardly did any of that, and it wasn't even, like, stealth assassinations. You just kind of, like, went and killed a guy and, like, ran away. And, you know, there's still, like, eavesdrops missions and blah, 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 and I don't want to harp on a black flag in this, but the reason I bring that up is, in hindsight, that game would not have been as high as it was on the list, or possibly have made the list at all. So I don't want to do that again. I don't want to regret my rankings on lists. So a game like Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm pretty confident would make that top 10 list, but it might end up having to be on the 2015 list, because I don't want to pass a judgment on a game that I don't feel like I have a full scope of the experience on. So that's kind of it, I guess. This was a really long video. I'm going to edit it together a little bit and put some fun pictures and stuff up there. But if the biggest thing, you know, what games are you looking forward to playing? But yeah, let me know in the comments, what are your most anticipated games? There's a lot of games I didn't mention on the list, you know, like Assassin's Creed Unity, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Lords of Fallen, or Lords of whatever that game is called. A lot of people are looking forward to it. It's like a Dark Souls-esque kind of game. But not everything can make the list, and yeah, those are my top 5 anticipated games, and then a couple other ones that I'm looking forward to. And you know, I still have games that came out this year already that I haven't played, like Broken Age and Valiant Hearts, so I have plenty of games to get through before the end of this year to make my top 10 list. So what games are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments below. I like talking about video games, so help me talk to you about them. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and check out all the stuff I put up here. Check out my blog. There's a link right there for the blog. I talk about video games on there. I'm getting back into it. I'm going to be doing some lists there because I'm obsessive compulsive, and making lists like gives me a euphoric feeling. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.
We going.